Next this morning, let's talk smartphones. And the growing movement in Sussex to make schools smartphone free.
It's no longer something that we can just push under the carpet. It's now about coming together as a community, parents, schools, children, and taking action and making these changes and allowing children to be smartphone free so they can enjoy their childhood.
So what's your view on this, and has your child's school already taken action on this one? Let me know. We know that several schools in Sussex have already banned all smartphones in an effort to reduce bullying and cybercrime, as well as improve mental health of young people. We'll speak to one of those schools shortly. But last night, a public meeting of parents, teachers and experts took place at East Preston Junior School in East Preston, near Littlehampton, aiming to encourage more schools to follow suit. It was co-organised by East Preston parent Katie Finch, a member of the grassroots campaign group Smartphone Free Childhood. Katie is with us now. Hi Katie, morning.
Good morning.
Tell us what happened last night.
Yeah, we decided to put on an event for the families and head teachers in the areas to help build awareness on the harmful effects of smartphones, and really just to encourage them to understand more about this area. So we gathered speakers who were experts in safeguarding mental health education to share their perspectives. We had a great turnout, and I think overwhelmingly we put a vote to the parents too, and they overwhelmingly, it was a unanimous vote that they would really prefer smartphones to be banned in schools. But I think genuinely people are just not clearly aware of the harmful effects right now, and so the more we can do to encourage things like this and more information to parents so that they can make better choices for their children, I think that's the better.
Well, for people who aren't aware or perhaps aren't fully up to speed, tell us about some of the risks as you see them, Katie.
Well, I think the reality now is that smartphones weren't designed for children, and they've reshaped children's childhood overnight, and we've got around 89% of 12-year-olds that have a smartphone now. They're linked with anxiety, depression, self-harm, addiction, and, the view is that they're now fueling a mental health crisis. But I think there's, a huge number of parents that are just not quite aware of this yet.
So we're talking sort of like the last year of junior school, perhaps, a big majority of the children will have a smartphone. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I think as parents we're in an impossible situation. Everyone's got one because everyone's got one. It seems like a rite of passage. You go to the secondary school, so you have to have a phone because we need to know how to track our children. But what we're not doing is tracking where they are online, and they're not safe. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges.
And are the challenges specific apps or just kind of open access to the internet?
I think it's both. I think it's basically the addictive nature of phones. They're designed to keep people hooked, to keep them scrolling, and it's linked with so many different harmful effects. So I think it's not one thing. It's about the way children are now, not spending time outside, not connected with their friends. They're spending more time on their phones, and that's what's alarming.
What advice, from what you've discovered about this, Katie, in the course of your journey with this, what advice would you give to other parents?
I'd encourage everyone to find the Smartphone Free Childhood website and look for information there. They can connect with a local organising group and set up their own WhatsApp group. It's ironic, but it's the way to organise in their own school, so that they can find like-minded parents and work together. If all parents delayed smartphone use and social media use till age 14 or beyond, then we would have less of a problem because children's brains are just not set up to cope with that now. So I'd encourage them to find their local organising group or set one up like we did, a few months ago, so that they can get the conversation going and show that their children don't have to be the odd one out if they decide to delay giving them a phone when they first go to secondary school. And
I know you don't represent East Preston Junior School, but what's the policy there?
The head teacher there is hugely supportive of the work we're doing and really helped us pull this event together. So huge thank yous to him. He does not allow phones to be used in school. They are handed in at the beginning of the day and they're given back at the end. So he has no smartphones on site during the day. I think we had teachers at the meeting last night as well, and I think they need support from parents in order to put bans in place.
Okay.
I think we have to support that too.
Everybody has a part to play. Thanks, Katie. Katie Finch, they're member of the grassroots campaign group Smartphone Free Childhood. Now, this is something we've covered before, and we asked parents on the street what they thought of this idea of a smartphone free childhood.
I do try to ensure that I don't spend time scrolling on my phone in front of my children, that we sit down and have dinner together, and that we have a conversation, and I am able to show them that I am able to hold my concentration and spend time with them and focus on one thing.
I think we need to start looking at mental health, the increasing anxiety, depression and other mental health conditions that are increasing. In 10, 20 years' time, this is our generation who are going to be our workforce, our carers. This is the future. And if everyone is overstressed, overwhelmed and not able to think straight because they've just been too much online, addicted to their screens, goodness knows what the world is going to be like. We need to act now.
Let me tell you about a study from earlier this year which compared schools which totally banned smartphones with those that allowed limited use. And this study found no difference in the impact on mental well-being, anxiety and depression. And it was led by Associate Professor Victoria Goodyear at the University of Birmingham.
We would expect that if they had lower levels of phone use, they would have lower levels of mental health, well-being and problematic use. We didn't find that. And the reason that we didn't find that is because the school phone policies did not lower the overall amount of time that adolescents spent on their phones.
So what do you think of that? So, whether the school takes action or not, it seems that has little difference in people's effect of using their smartphones. Let's speak to a school that's already gone smartphone free and has done that for a long time, Michael Hall School in Forest Row. Emmeline Hawker is the acting principal and joins us now. Hi, Emmeline. Morning.
Hi, morning, Danny.
And from an educationalist point of view, why have you banned smartphones in your school?
I mean, much for the reasons that Katie said, that all the research now suggests that it's just really unhealthy for their mental health. It's unhelpful for their social development. I mean, we're a Waldorf school, so we don't have screens at all until year 9, and we find it's absolutely brilliant. In fact, the most famous Waldorf school is Waldorf School Silicon Valley. And it's very interesting because the Google and Apple execs who send their kids there particularly go there because they don't want their kids to be having access to have, completely screen-filled days.
Oh, does that tell a story in itself? Okay.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, sure, it's, screens are part of the modern world, and we've got to accept that. But in school and for education, we find that children, they're just more present with themselves, with each other, the world around them. Mm-hmm. Their social abilities are better. So
for schools that haven't gone as far as you and do use screen as part of the education process, the schools must be having conversations, and you at your school as well, about the risks and the benefits of using electronic devices. And so how do you approach that and talk to the children about that and keep themselves safe and how not to spend too much time and become addicted, all those things?
Yeah, I mean, we do, even from the very, class 1, we do offer online safety training. I mean, that's part of safeguarding children. And of course, we educate children on how to use devices safely and all that sort of thing. But the parents are really, really on board. I mean, again, as Katie was saying, and we have a smartphone ban as well. Children have to teenagers hand them in the morning, collect them after school. I think it's
once they're past the school gates, then they can do what they like, or how much parents can police what they do, or have that conversation with them.
Yeah. So When they're at home, it's kind of up to parents. But having parents on board is just so important, that they also can reinforce that message that it's just not really all that healthy. As Katie was saying, it's just the phones are programmed to make sure people get addicted to scrolling, and people are constantly on there. You can see it when you sit on the tube or public transport. Everybody's just sitting down staring at their phones.
And it's just not the kids, is it, as well? It's the grown-ups too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Emmeline,
so we're just so proud. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Just finish what you're saying, please.
I was just going to say, we're just so proud of the fact that you come into our school and all our kids are just talking to each other and happy and playing and in their imagination, as children should be.
There's a thought. Thank you very much. Emmeline Hawker there, acting principal at Michael Hall School in Forest Row. Is this something that concerns you? How about the conversations that you have with your children as they approach the end of junior school, going to senior school? You perhaps want to have that phone so you can stay in touch with them, find out where they are. They can call you if they got a problem, but also the other side of it as well. How do you organise that in your family or in your school? 0800 232 1045. I think it's a difficult one to solve, isn't it? Is that one of the ways it can be helped, though? What do you think? 18 minutes past 7.
Danny Pike in the